Right. Shift it over there. Do. Actually, no. It's always easier just to share everything from the phone. Oh, there is one thing though. Channel content. Ah, good to go there. Oh, I'm not sure how long I'm actually going to be on today. Casey's been napping for a little bit, so I'm assuming she's probably going to wake up sooner than later. But we're going to try to get as much done as I can before she decides to rear her little head. Just for some odd reason, her little camera has a built-in music box for it, and it did not want to start. So I'm surprised that she hasn't even woken up yet. Hopefully, I won't be too loud. But anyways, listen up, Rangers. Welcome to the Geek Chest. My name's Steve. We'll swap it over live. Hey, that guy. Try to adjust the lighting a little bit just to let you guys can see a little bit better. But just got done making the thumbnail. Been doing some random sculpting on our Kaiju here, our American Kaiju here off camera. I've done a little bit, actually quite a bit more on the spines that I did the other day. So I finished the other rows, did the neck, and the in-between sections of the spines. I'll probably do a little bit more in between the spines. I also kind of add a couple more here at the base of the tail just so it kind of transitions a little bit better into this section here. And then also had a request to modify the face a little bit so it's not quite GMKE. So we're going to try to... I'll be honest, I don't know. Looking at him, he's kind of GMK, but his mouth's almost squared off. So I think I'm just gonna shave a little bit off here on the muzzle region here, and just kind of square it off, and then just sculpt a little bit. I think is the game plan. I almost want to make it a little taller and a little narrower. While I'm doing that. Oh, also I probably should add a little bit on the eyebrows too. We're gonna go that route. I think that's where we're going. Hey, Riz. American Godzilla doesn't work. Yes, he does. Look at the Star Spangled. Look at the flag. Look at the stars and stripes. It totally works. He kind of looks like one of those like he really enjoys Linkin Park. The way the top of his head looks, especially from the front. This totally reminds me of Chester from the early 2000s. It's so great. And then whatever extra we got, so since I've been working on sculpting this guy a little bit here and there, I've actually gone and I can actually pop some of this out to show you. But I've actually filled in some of the sections here just so it looks a little bit cleaner. I'm probably going to go through and smooth it out just a little bit, but nothing too crazy. But you can see here as well. I do got to glue that part back. There's a couple I got to glue in, like this one. It fits really good, but doesn't take much to pop it out. But like I mentioned, I've just been kind of going through and just filling in some of the gaps so you don't see the 3D filament, kind of like on the back here. But this I'm not as worried about because this I'm actually going to sculpt a little bit into the neck so it hides everything anyways. So when the neck turns, it won't be as much of a noticeable gap, especially at the head here. This is probably the one I'm going to spend the most time on sculpting. Especially to keep all that posability on it. And then, rawr. Lego joints could do justice. I use they're more meant for like Gundams and like model kits. But you also see here it's got like random parts stolen from action figures to repurpose for the joints here. But right now, the one that's sort of failing me is this little waist one here, which is from a bootleg Shenron, just not quite tight enough that I need it to be, so it doesn't take much to get this to sag. And I imagine once I add a little bit more weight because of the head and the stomach region here, it's going to have even more problems, so I'm going to have to tighten that up a bit. The one for the tail, surprisingly, is actually holding really well. But this one right here, which I actually think is from my joints. This one's not holding as well either. But super easy to tighten these things up after the fact. But I don't plan on really doing any sculpting today. Well, at least on him. Say it's going to be working on his face and then taking whatever extra we have for time and then just adding some more little indents inside of his spiky bits here. And I was kind of thinking about maybe going through with a drill bit just to kind of carve these out a little bit more. Or, sorry, carving tip. I'm going through and just kind of carving these a little bit. Some of the areas like a little too, I don't want to say smooth, but rounded for my liking. See how that goes. So that's gone like 50-50 for me in the past. Also, recently, if you guys can see it, I just picked up a Batman. I finally got a Batman to go with that Batmobile that I got for $20 a few months back. Because this one was also on clearance. So I was like, yeah, you know what, I'll grab it. So the Batmobile's got something. Although I don't like his eye color. His eye color is red. So I'll have to change that after the fact. But anyways, so I guess first and foremost we're gonna hopefully I gotta wait here as I smack the camera. Because we're gonna work on the head here. And I've learned from my past mistakes of I don't want to remove the head ever again because it is a pain in the butt to get on, and I thankfully didn't take any of the epoxy off when trying to reattach it, but I don't want to push my luck again, so we're just going to leave the head attached. But I do want to redo the eyebrows here slightly just to give them a little bit more of a spiky protrusion, and then like I said, we're going to kind of square off his face a little bit more. Methinks. So I need to remove a little bit of the plastic off here. Yeah, I can agree with that. Granted, he's going to be sitting in a Batmobile, so it's not really that big of a deal, I think. And I actually kind of like the cell shading on it. But you are right, he's a little pasty, to be fair. So, I'm just going to kind of start whittling away at it a little bit. Like I said, I didn't buy him for Batman to be on my shelf. He's just something to hang out inside of the Batmobile. I was tempted to try to get a hold of that Mikey Batman from a while back. Have him hanging out in there. Still might, but I'm not committed to that idea. But you'll see here for the face, it kind of elongates. Like it goes a little bit angular towards the snout, and then it kind of protrudes out a little bit. And this is the part I kind of want to definitely cut away from. So like I said, we're going to kind of build it up a little bit. But I don't want to go too far back into the face because it kind of rounds in and then goes straight. So where it rounds into it, that's the portion I kind of want to leave. And I also have to be really careful not to cut into. I don't want to get into his like teeth or anything. Also, when doing this, make sure you cut away from yourself. I'm going to shake the crap out of my table here trying to do this. Remove as much plastic as I can. I do kind of like, you'll see it. I'm not trying to be precise with the cutting on here because it's almost better to keep it a little bit jagged. So when the epoxy cures, it's got a better time gripping it instead of trying to grip onto a completely smooth surface. But sometimes it's even better to like sand these, like do like a rough sand on these things. It's always fun trying to do like a facelift on these figures. It's kind of sad when she suggested doing this because it's like, I don't want to modify the head. This is always like the stressful part because I don't want to muck it up. But I'm not doing, like, so far with this guy, it's kind of just been like, it's not going to be 100% accurate to the American Kaiju in the comic. It's kind of like our own little representation of it. But still, I want to try to do like decent justice to it. Hold on a second, guys. My dog is trying to chew at my child's book, as you are. No. No. Leave that book alone. Yeah, you don't give me a look. She's like, you took that book away from me, you monster. It was mine. I know, you're a big girl. That's kind of what he is. To be fair. What? Don't you sass me. You see this dog? You see this sassy dog? Look what you're doing. You're not paying attention to me. We aren't playing. She's really mad because she hasn't got to go for a walk today. She only went for a car ride and played outside in the backyard with the kid for a little bit. She really wants to go for a walkie. Like, in case you woke up earlier enough, we could possibly have done that. Sadly, she has not. Okay, so now we're going to do the same thing to the other side here. Again, try not to cut into the teeth as I just slightly did. But that'll be fixable enough. Hey, Cuckoo Monster. I'll say Cuckoo Monster. Cuckoo Master. This side's going to be a little bit harder to do. Yeah, it's kind of similar green, isn't it? That's for sure. Problem is, like, really got to kind of cut at it from like this angle, but it's so much harder for me at this side because this is not my dominant hand. And when I'm cutting it, I'm kind of bending it, and I don't want to do that. There we go. It's like I just need to remove like that little bit of plastic, like right around his eyeball. Yeah, this is sort of just kind of like woodworking in a weird way. Just random little whittling. Oh, well, I was hyped about that Legion until it got released for like the pre-order was $550, and now with the whole tariff situation, we don't know like that's the bare minimum it's gonna be. So I'm kind of scared about that one. Oh, at least I can cancel that order if I really needed to. Hopefully, everything will be situated by then. is the dream. Yeah, it's $550. $560 actually, I think is what it was with free shipping. Then it was the Monster Arts. The other Monster Arts, the 2000, because that looks sexy. But again, kind of concerned with what the price is going to be stateside, so my excitement for it tanked. And then it's like also like any of the highs, like the excitedness for those also tanked quite a bit because if a high costs an extra like 145% or whatever it is currently right now, probably not worth it. So because we're customizing it. As you can see, we've already modified it quite a bit anyways, so why not chop into it anymore? Although I'm still sad I did the paint job and then I'm kind of mucking it up and having to gonna have to redo some of this paint job. But it is what it is. I think that's. Can I leave it like this? I can't. I kind of dig it. He looks like a little bit more. I guess he looks a lot more muppish now, but it's kind of sweet. Base figure is the GM. It's a NECA GMK. Whatever the like the atomic. I guess it was like the atomic version because it had like the barf blue all over it. You can kind of see it and some of the plastic there on the face as I cut it off and started coming through. Where did I put my gloves? Hey there. So it was those. I have to look at my pre-order list because I know there was something I was super stoked about, and I don't remember what it is anymore. Because everything I was really excited about were all like import stuff. So like, there's Taguro from the Figure Arts line. Super stoked for that one. But again, now I'm less stoked because it's probably gonna be more money. Like I already canceled quite a few pre-orders to help try to like alleviate the blow for some other stuff. Yeah, if you have the opportunity, if you're trying to pick up NECA Godzilla figures, you're probably better off like going through like Facebook groups or even like Mercari or something. You'll be able to get them a little more reasonably. Honestly, I don't even think they're really like that expensive. They just kind of like best way to think about it is they just got more expensive because of inflation. I don't buy as much as I used to. That being said, I still got a few things coming along the way. Oh, actually, I would say the thing I'm most excited to see how it's going to turn out is that Ling Ji-hoon leatherback with the light up features and everything. That if it's at least as good as the other figures, that thing is going to be banging. It's just going to make me want to knife it even more from them. That's what I know whenever they're going to actually put out that Slattern. Like, Pacific Rim is probably like my favorite. Well, yeah, I'd say it's probably my favorite kaiju movie. Like I love the first Pacific Rim. Like Guillermo del Toro did a phenomenal job in that movie. I like the designs. The story was sweet. Everything was cool looking. Cinematography was great. It was campy, but not too campy, you know? I dig that one quite a bit. But what you'll see here, I'm messing with is two-part epoxy. A's epoxy sculpts. Really good stuff for sculpting. It air dries, so it hardens really well. It's really good for like customizing and modifying figures. The only thing with doing ones like these you got to worry about is weight, because the more sculpt you put on, the more weight, more it's going to weigh. I could see it. Like, oh man, could you imagine them being the pilot of their own Jaeger? Like them having to drift and go into each other's minds. I'd pay to see that. Though then again, if they did a prequel, like I said, I know they talked about doing a prequel. If they did one, I could see them maybe going that route. Like they're in like an old beat up. Well, actually, would they even be old at that time? Old beat up Jaegers? But maybe they're just like so drift compatible. Oh yeah, shoot. We did this and I didn't chop off his eyebrow here. Hold on a second. Oh, I just cut in that clay. Cool beans. Not exactly what I wanted to happen. Angle you guys up a little bit more so you kind of see better what I'm doing. So I'm taking it slow because I'm cutting towards myself so that I don't flick this blade into my hand. Take it nice and slow. And I'm also trying not to clip this clay as much as possible because I don't want to redo any spikes like this guy here. Let's see if I can remove it without fudging up these other spikes. There we go. We'll just redo that one. Blood for the blood god. He's had enough today. Okay, so we're going to put a little pinch on top of his head. Get the extra plastic out of there. Now we're going to put that on top of his head. Take my little tool, just kind of squish it in there. Actually, you know, since we're coming back to this, I probably should make the spike a little shorter. You wanted to taunt me a second time. I'll allow it. What do you mean by saga? We talking like Marvel movies or something comic book related? Or kaiju? We're going like giant monster movies here. 100% be 90s. Again, I feel like something from the 90s. Ripley, what are you doing there, child? Child's boss. Here's things going on in the background. I don't appreciate it. There we go. Now the fun part, making eyebrows. The 90s was cool. And I'm not just saying that because it's my era. But all the fun stuff came out in the 90s, like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Power Rangers. We got all the cool stuff. Gargoyles, Dinosaurs TV show. Excuse me, eyebrow. I need you to adhere. Not to my finger, though. Son of a bitch. Oh yeah, just anime from the 90s. So like, I don't know. It's hard for me to say it was better, but I like a lot of animes I liked in the 90s though. Like Gundam Wing, yeah, Tenchi Muyo. Like Tenchi's still my jam. Granted, Tenchi kind of fell off pretty hard later on in life, but like 90s, 2000s Tenchi before we got the GXP, perfectly fine. Actually, a little bit ago, I was rewatching Outlaw Star. Outlaw Star was another really good one. This might be harder than I thought it was going to be. It's my current dilemma. It really doesn't want to go over that cut that I made. There we go. I like some of like Super was like hit and miss for me. Like Super started off pretty strong, and then it tanked a little bit, and then once we got like the Tournament of Power was really sweet though. And the manga stuff was still pretty sweet. I'd say if you only got the one, I would probably just stick with like basic -1. But then again, it also just depends on like which version of -1 do you like better? Do you like them being a blue? Do you like the atomic or? Oh no, applied a little too much pressure. Like I'm trying to get this back spike to kind of line up a little better with the one that I already made. Okay, so in the picture, it shows them with 2 spikes. I don't want to add this other one. I have a go on Rez. I'll add it like kind of right there. So that's always the hardest part for me is like trying to get these little clay pieces to be relatively the same size. Not just lightly. Just kind of spreading it into the clay that was already there. Trying to blend it as best I can. About squishing it so I don't have to redo anything. Because I gotta redo this and I'm just gonna have to take it off. I do want that little thinner there. So kind of like that. One of these days I'll get a better light for up here. It's got some spiky bits on his eyebrows. There's like specifically like, well, they used to say NECA, but it's like any kind of like articulated action figure monster group. They all should be pretty serviceable for you if that's what you're trying to get a hold of. Because you can usually find them for like 30-ish bucks around there, maybe even cheaper. Let's put that alone. Go a little deeper on this side. And because he had that snarl to begin with, I'm trying to keep that as best I can. Have it going, Bubba. Gonna build up a little bit more clay on the side here. Like I said, I kind of want them a bit more squared off than it was previously. Also kind of looking at it, I also don't really want it to have much of a bridge for the nose. It's pretty much just gonna have the nostrils like right at the end. And then just match the detailing for Godzilla. I'll probably have it come down just a little bit. But I really want this to be way more squared off than it currently is. Now Godzilla's detailing. Let me see if I can get it better. Not reason it was on white. But when I'm sculpting Godzilla detailing, I guess that's my best one. Yeah, it's kind of hard. I think it's because I use this black matte background for the bottom, just like the light reflects. But when doing Godzilla sculpting, I use just this little pointy bit here, and I just use kind of the edge of it, and just add a bunch of little indents. And it helps to kind of match the detailing that I'm going for. Roll that back up so you guys can see a little better. We tried doing one of those a while back, but it was on the Playmates, and I'll be honest, it was coming out like hot garbage. So we ended up ixnaying that one. It was just because like the weight and trying to do this stuff, it was just a nightmare. If I were to go back to try to do it, I would probably just sculpt each. I would probably set up more like a vinyl, but I would sculpt each of the pieces and then 3D print, like scan to 3D print the, 3D print the stuff after I scanned it to make like a really good sculpt of it and be able to take my time with it instead of the stuff. God bless it. Murdered my phone. Instead of only getting like an hour to try to set up like an entire hand while it's curing the entire time is just like a no-go. Like I said, I know he doesn't have a bridge in some of the pictures I've seen for the nose, but I kind of want to still add just a little bit of a one. Just to give him a little bit more character. Oh, I just mucked something up. I think we're good. I think we're hunky dory. Oh, I'm gonna go about the nose. I think I just add a little piece of epoxy right at the end. But if I was going to like to make my own custom figures, I would probably set them more up like vinyls. Just make like stylized vinyl type figures. I probably wouldn't be trying to do like the fully articulated thing. Like I have tempted. I've seen some videos on how to do them. Like I said, I think it'd be kind of fun to make like some small batch like Sufobis. For selling. And then I would be inclined to try to do like a Riga for those and such. That's I think just doing a light little tapping. I wish that's super bright. I wonder if I think I just murdered the camera. Hold on a second. The camera couldn't handle all the lights flashing. Nope, wrong button. That one. All right, you guys are probably going to see me for a second while I reset the camera. Hey, all right, hopefully come back. There we go. Oh, and it does that. I'll be on here because we got to set it back to 1080p. Come back to the little dude. All right, should be. Shit. All right, good. Laptop feels like, what the hell are you doing? Oh, come on. Like, as soon as I mess with the lights, it jacked up. If I modify this. What if I change the screen size if it fixes itself? Okay. So I don't have to go through the motions. There we go. You guys can kind of see a little bit better now. What I'm attempting to do. I was about to say, it kind of looks a little crooked for you guys. I think we're good. I just gotta blend this nose in a little bit better. Still gonna give him like a little bit of lip action. Let's harken back to that GMK look just a little bit. There we go. Pretty solid. Did there's a little spiky bit, just a little bit. Oh, the fun part. I got a little bit roughness here, and I kind of want to smooth it out. But I also got to make sure I don't squish it. So it's like you start smoothing it a little bit, you got to bring it back up, smooth it a little bit, bring it back up. Kind of adjust it around until I get into the position that I like. Reconnect it to the eyebrow. And just blend it in with the top of the head just a little bit more. I think that looks noticeably different than what GMK looked like originally. It's a little bit more squared off now. Now the fun part, the stuff's starting to get a little bit stiff. But I think I can still work this into some of these parts a little bit. Thankfully, it's still kind of adhering. The design, we're kind of making him look sort of similar to how we did for American Kaiju, which is like the Marvel, not Godzilla. Also, I just noticed the other guy's jacked up again. There we go. all better. Not exactly like it, but as close as we can with the figure that's provided. Because there's some things about this that isn't quite right to the kaiju. And then some parts I can't really modify much anyways, like the tail, because it's a bendy tail, you can't really sculpt onto it without stuff breaking off, because if it flexes at all, it's just gonna come clean off. Gosh darn it, little piece of clay, get in there. We'll do a bit of streaming tomorrow too. And we'll try to do it in the basement this time. I'm gonna try exactly what it's gonna do. Need help with the camera? Yeah, just a bit. God. Is it loose? I think it's my cable. I think that's what it is. When I go to adjust the light, I'm nudging the cable and it's fudging everything up. Oh. Again, I always click on the stupid mic button. It's not even close to the camera button. Never fails. Alright, we'll dumb that down. Move it back up. Alright, we're live again. There's no sculpting tool. This one's for American Kaiju. What we're going with this, which is based off a Marvel character. Now, generally, when I do sculpt these spines, I try to do them all in one set, but I keep messing with them because I didn't quite like the way they looked to begin with. And I'm like, yeah, they need to put some more like little spiky protrusions in here. And then I'm like, okay, well, I could probably use some more spiky protrusions. And then I'm like, it could still use some more spiky protrusions. Hey, Lady Drago. So I just keep adding to it. But like I said, I'm trying to spend a little bit more time getting the top looking good since I can't really do much with the rest of the tail here. Ooh, fun. What'd you get at the market? Did you buy me anything cool? Ew, ham? Never mind, you can keep it. I don't want it. Boneless chicken breast, on the other hand. It's definitely more up my alley. Oh, but I've had to cut back on sugar. Like, I had some Reese's today and I feel horrible. Well, I also had I had like a little bit of breakfast and stuff, so it's like, I think it's oh, it's sugar free? Dope. That's what I need to buy more of. I just need to get like some sugar, because I got like a bit of a sweet tooth. And now that, like I said, I've been trying to cut back on like not drinking things with calories in them as much as possible. So it's been a lot of like Coke Zero, water, sugar free tea, stuff like that. And thankfully, like I was a big slushy fiend. Like it was how I would wind down when I get out of work. I would go buy a Slurpee. Probably half the reason why this is still here. And now that I'm trying to cut back on sugar, it's like the one thing. It's just like, oh. And I found a place that has sugar-free ones, so I've been going there a lot lately. But their machine is like the most unreliable thing, so sometimes it's working, sometimes it's not. Talking to Jess, I was like, I seen they sell them at Target. They just sell a slushy machine you could buy for like a couple $100, and I'm half tempted just to go buy it so I can just make my own. Just make Coke Zero slushies all day long. I'm sure it'll be fine. Okay, I think I'm pretty happy with that. So, current spine look, added a bunch of little spiky bits in between the spines. Also, if you'll see, I did work on the face today. I'm actually gonna bring the camera up a bit. Focus, camera. Focus. Maybe it'll help if I bring the camera forward so the light's more behind it. Problem is, oh, actually, you know what? I know a good way to solve this problem. Hold on a second. You guys are gonna see my. I always forget where I have this table upstairs is right in front of a window. So it's just like, I have natural lighting here. There we go. So I squared it off a bit more and changed the way his nose is designed. So it's still a little GMK, but like I said, it's a lot more squared off now. And then I also modified his eyebrows a little bit to be a little bit more pointy. But like I said, I think this is about as far as I can go. Like I could maybe attempt Warblaw here, but I feel like again it's just gonna break off because it's bendable. So I don't really want to put any more here, and I kind of like the. Well, I guess like I got a little spike here, just the. So I want to try to make it like kind of transition into here better. What's the game plan? Because after this point, it's flexible tail, so so there's no point. But here I can add a little bit. Now, honestly, I'm just going to sculpt it right around the spine because it's going to give it a better chance of surviving. Ooh, I don't know if I'd like the smooth. To be honest, like I think that it having the little bit of spike still it works with the detailing. That's why I kind of left this trail here, so it kind of transitions into just bumps, which I think works. It's just kind of like these center spikes are more the problem than anything. Like once it gets to here, I think it's kind of an acceptable transition. Because if I was gonna smooth it out, then I'd still want to like detail on it, and can't really do too much about that. But where these little big spikes are, You can definitely cover these up, though. So again, kind of matches the detailing for the body. Oh, actually, you know what? Oh, I do. Okay, summer. I guess it does have a little bit of there. Okay, it's like it kind of. I was almost have to remove the spiky bits there, but honestly, it doesn't make too much sense to do it there. Ugh. Once the stuff starts hardening, it starts to get way more of a pain to use. Anything else exciting going on for you guys? It's been a relatively quiet day around here. A little more on the boring side since even tomorrow we're probably not really doing much exciting for my day off. We're probably just gonna be folding clothes all day because our basement's like full of dirt. Well, clean clothes, but they gotta come up and get folded. And we've been kind of neglecting that lately. So that's probably gonna be tomorrow. Probably gonna buy something to munch on and watch a movie and fold some clothes. Oh yeah, I heard about that. So everything all right in your guys' end? I saw some people posting in some groups about their figures like getting knocked over. Saw some dude's poor Hot Toys display just like a hot mess. Yeah, thankfully I'm in an area that we don't really got to worry about that. We get tornadoes. That's probably tornadoes and like winds. Winds a big thing up here because we've had like a lot of damage around here just from like winds from storms. That's sort of the extent of like Mother Nature trying to end our lives around here. We still have to worry about flooding periodically, but not nearly. It hasn't really been much of an issue around here for a long time. That was more like when I was growing up, because the rivers around here would sometimes like overflow. Didn't really have to worry about it where we lived, but there's quite a bit of places around here that would have. think that looks pretty good. Gives it like a nice little hard transition into the actual Godzilla tail. Yeah, it was just like where we were above the water line, like where we lived at for a long time was much more elevated above it than a lot of places around here. Also, sounds like my child's up, so we're probably gonna have to call this stream good. But we're kind of at a point too where pretty much done sculpting on this. So probably tomorrow I'll probably retouch up the paint here and there because I got to redo the paint on the face and such.
Hi.
And the claws.
Hi.
Hi. You want to say hi to everybody? You say hi? I say hi. You got your blanket? Yeah? Showing everybody your dinosaur? She has this Triceratops that she drags around everywhere. Thing's a hot mess, but we can't take it away from her. But looking good. So hopefully, like I said, we'll call it good here for the sculpting. Tomorrow, I might, like I said, take a little carving tool and go over some of the spines just a little bit to give them more of a rocky kind of look to them because a couple of them are a little bit more smooth. So I would like to detail them just like a little bit more. But for the most part, it should be relatively done tomorrow. And then I know you were talking about not work as the one other one you're going to send me a different figure for the base, right? For the I forget her name, but for the Zilla girl, right? Not mistaken. Yeah, one last look at Zilla. That didn't work out. Yeah, Komodo Threx. That's who it is. I just used way too much clay. I could use some to hide in there. Yeah, what was it? Didn't you say you were sending something different though? Or was that for a different thing? Oh, that was for Doug, wasn't it? That's what I'm thinking of, right? Okay, that's what it was. All right. I'm getting things confused. I always you can help us defeat those Kaijus by hitting that like button, subscribe, and come arrange today. We also got Instagram, Patreon, TikTok, Facebook. If you guys like keep up the day with channel, donate greatly, would appreciate it. Also got a link in the description for the Etsy account if you guys would like to get some custom beams for yourself. We also got like Godzilla head, Godzilla bust I made is up on there as well. Or if you guys are interested in getting some commissions done for yourself, there's also a link for the Instagram. Etsy or Instagram is a good way to get a hold of me for that. Hi. Do you need both the dinosaurs? Yes, you do. Anarchy. Or if you guys like to pick up some Godzilla collectibles yourself, link in the description for Entertainment Earth. Good way to help support the channel if you guys are already buying your Kaiju collectibles or just anything in general stateside from there. Yeah? Oh. Watch out. And we'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye. Have a good one.